So,
and that's kind of a big thing we've been harping on the show. And I know I'm preaching to the choir a little bit, but we had Lamar Giles on a few episodes back. We're seeking out the back catalog, and he was one of the founders of We Need Diverse Books. And the whole reason that organization exists is because we need diverse books, and traditional publishers were not supplying them. So obviously, you're doing your part. You've got Marie, you've got many other diverse books that you're editing and selecting. What are you seeing Tor do specifically, and what are you seeing other publishers do to begin to correct this wrong that's been in place for so long?
I think I've been seeing a lot of companies across the board address representation in different ways, and on the reader side, you see it again through programs like We Need Diverse Books. You see it by publishers making announcements that they're acquiring certain authors from underserved communities. From internally, we've also changed our hiring practices, for example, to reflect more inclusive language. Because a lot of one of the barriers I think marginalized people face is not only to have the opportunity to get their voice out there, but just to know that they're encouraged to be there. That it's not just lip service, and once you get in, you don't get the support that you need. And I think that element is something that the publishing industry is currently working on. When We Need Diverse Books was founded, the concerns were author concerns, and they're talking about how can we get more authors published. And I think publishers are paying attention to that, but I also believe that in order for lasting institutional change to happen, it also has to happen internally as well. You have to have your staff be as representative as the books you want to produce, because sometimes they might be the only people who can really find the stories that are worth telling, or be able to assess the books in ways that they would only understand through their lived experiences to be able to assess a manuscript correctly. Because as you may have heard, a lot of the books that have been criticized in Kidlit for several years now are usually books that were acquired by editors who didn't have the experience or didn't have didn't do their due diligence in order to get that experience to be able to shepherd a project through publication. And that was when you find the egregious mistakes. That's when you find the cultural appropriation. That's when you find terrible stereotypes that are red flags to readers with that experience, but may have not been seen by anyone else because they didn't realize there was a problem. So I think that's really the next step in the representation conversation, is that how can we transform the industry to be more internally inclusive and retain that talent.